This is CHSR 97.9 FM here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. This is Python's Paradise, your film and music show. And this is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And folks, we have a return guest. Yes, the director of Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies. And Mr. Cody Knotts on the phone with me today, promoting a new project. How do you do, Cody?
Good. How are you, Greg?
No such thing as pro zombies.
No, that might be an interesting film.
I enjoyed having you on last year. It wasn't until I interviewed Colt and Ariel, Rowdy Piper's son and daughter, that I heard of Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies, and I just wanted to reach out to you just based on the title alone. I was like, man, this is unique, and they definitely liked your film, so you got a plug from them.
It was fun, and Roddy was great to work with. I still remember the day he died because my wife and I were together and having dinner at a Chinese restaurant and got the call, and right before it was public, and we both cried. And my wife is no fan of wrestling, and she only knew Roddy from the film, so she knew nothing of his career. She'd never even heard of him, and she knew him as a human being, and that's what, versus a celebrity.
Yeah.
And it affected her. I mean, I grew up as a fan. Like, I was a huge fan of Roddy's. He was always my favorite wrestler.
Oh, same here. Same here. Yeah, I felt, I've seen a lot of wrestlers pass away over the past number of years. Some of them I think are going too young, but I gotta say, I don't think any of them affected me more than Roddy passing. And, it's like, man, I mean, even he saw, like, when Randy Savage, Ultimate Warrior, Kurt Hennig, guys like that passing away. It's like these people are going too young, and I don't know whether that's a finger you point at Vince McMahon. I'm certainly not impressed with how Vince does business, but that's here or they. But I am a big fan of Piper, and I was so happy to have Colt and Ariel come on here. In fact, Ariel is in talks to come back on here again, because I know she does movies. Oh, yeah. I think she's funny. But
they're a unique family. I mean, they go back all the way to Roderick Toombs and not Roderick Toombs, that's Roddy. He's a great-great-grandson of the Secretary of War, I believe, in the Confederacy. So that's one of the weird, because people would say he was a Canadian playing a Scotsman, sometimes pretending to be an American, but his family's actually, he's a direct descendant of one of the most powerful families in the Confederacy, which is, and his grandfather was known for being a hothead, like Roddy would be.
Yeah. Same
kind of personality.
Well, I gotta say, I learned a lot about Roddy just from talking to them, and yeah, I think that's a major hole in wrestling, him gone, because let's face it, Hogan, taking the belt off the Iron Sheik coming in, and after the Iron Sheik, I mean, the next big heel coming in there was Roddy Piper, and of course that led to WrestleMania. I mean, Piper. Really, I mean, I say this even more than Hulk Hogan, as Roddy Piper and the whole rock and wrestling and the connection with Cyndi Lauper. I think Piper doesn't get enough credit for what he brought to the table there. In the heat at the war to settle the score, like, you don't get that now very much at all.
No, and he and him and Hacksaw at WrestleMania 1, and with the Battle Royale. I mean, I get to work with both of them, and I love Hacksaw. Love Hacksaw.
Yes, I noticed it in your filmography. Hacksaw's going to be voicing God in one of your films, huh?
if we ever get the film off the ground, that one has been. He actually plays God. He would actually be like he would appear on screen as God. He doesn't speak in it, but that one's been. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I mean, it's you have films in development and they never get anywhere, and you just go, okay. I never had one not make it to the finish line. So, but that one I would really love to see done. But it's not. It's more an artistic work than it is a commercial one.
Is God going to have a 2x4?
No. No, and he really wanted because he's a very deep believer.
Yeah.
So the idea of playing God would mean something to him personally.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think Roddy was a believer as well.
he was.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same depth as Hack. I mean, it's for Hack with Hack it's about his wife and Deborah's really cool. I think they're wonderful. I mean, I just really I'm trying to get him to come here to West Point and. Because I think since I interviewed with you, I now live at West Point, so that's a big change.
Yeah. Well, Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies. I just the other night I shown clips of it to my younger brother who does up Andrew. He does up my YouTube videos, and and the guys just look like they're having fun.
I always try to have fun on a film set. Well, I try to have everybody else have fun. Myself, I don't have fun. But that's okay. For me, it's exhausting.
Well, Matt Hardy looked like he was having some fun, and Kurt Angle, doing that ankle lock and ripping the foot off a zombie. Stuff like that is just fun. I love the Piper using the coconut, of course.
Yeah, that was, that was in the script. That was my doing. So that was my doing. But Kurt came up with the ankle lock.
Okay.
I had less of a connection to Kurt when he wrestled.
Mm-hmm.
Like his period wrestling, I didn't know much about, so I didn't have the same. I didn't grow up watching it. At that point, I was really out of watching wrestling.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kurt had that. He said, "Let me do this," and we let him. He choreographed his whole scene. And we had the lines were all there, like Pittsburghers know how to kill the undead. All that was in there.
Mm-hmm.
But Kurt came up with his own plan on how he was going to choreograph his fighting. So.
Well, I think the film is really funny. It's a great concept, I think, It's a phenomenal concept. And, I know that Hacksaw Jim Duggan has done these WrestleCons and whatnot. I would hope that he would, promote this movie even when he goes to WrestleCon because, that could be introducing... I love, to me, I never heard of the movie until I interviewed Colton Ariel. And it's like... I love
it should have gotten more promoted. I mean, I have a friend that works over there on SNBC, and he told me, he goes, Cody, I don't know why this film didn't find a bigger audience.
Yeah, because I just to me it was just something, it's something unique, and I love finding stuff like that because the latest Jurassic Park movie was shit. I'm more interested in something like this. But I don't know yet. Is there a Blu-ray out yet to Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies?
I don't think so. The best I know, if there is one, I don't know about it. I think I love Trauma. I love Lloyd, but I think that they got in a position where they were spending a lot of money trying to make the Return to Class of Nukem High work. And that became their whole focus, and it came out at the same time. And they thought, we'll release it and they'll make money, or it won't make money, and we're not going to put any effort into it. And they kept putting money into that 2-film thing they did with Return to Class of Nukem High, and it wasn't. I don't think it did very well for them. And Lloyd. I think what worked. I think there's been a change in what you can get away with low budget film. And when Lloyd did the stuff he did with Class of Nukem High and Shock stuff, that was great for the 80s, but the world's moved on. And there's a different expectation, and he tried to relive that magic, and it wasn't working. You know what I mean? So that's my impression of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be wrong, but so that I think that's why they weren't able to focus, because they're not a very big company.
I think
I don't blame them at all, but
it'd be great if you was able to do a commentary track on a Blu-ray or something. I think this would be a good Blu-ray.
I did do the one for Trauma. I did one I have one on their version.
Oh,
There's
okay.
two versions. But when they lined it up, I did it lined up with exactly once the thing starts. When they placed it in, they took our thing, they added their Trauma logo and all that, and so they started there. And so it's all off. And it's off by like a minute. So I'm talking about what's going to happen before it happens 1 minute before.
Oh my, that's a mishap.
And I don't know why they did that. We didn't do it. So the commentary would have been, because most people just sit there and they gab. You know, people drink and they talk and they don't really talk about the film. We talked about everything that was going on, what we did, what happened, what went right, what went wrong, right with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, because my director's commentary is on there, the other version, the one we personally sell, has Roddy, Hacksaw, Matt Hardy, and Shane, and Matt's wife Rebby discussing the film as they see it for the first time.
Okay.
And that's kind of cool. Because there's a great moment when Matt Hardy's tore in half.
Yep.
and Rebby yells out, "I need the other half."
Yeah.
So there's some fun stuff there.
Is there any a chance that ever thought of doing Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies #2?
I've thought about it. I mean, I'm at a point. I have the current film Kecksburg, and I have at least two different ideas that I want to do after this.
Okay.
Actually, and I have a script almost done on a third. It's actually further along, but I think it would require more money than the other two.
Okay.
So I'd rather film the other two first.
Okay. Yep. Sure.
And one deals with vampires.
Oh, nice.
With a ghost. And they're very simple things because I don't need many actors. I don't need a lot of people for these to make these work. And so I'm excited about them. They're much less involved in Kecksburg. Kecksburg has required a lot of work and raising and I don't ever talk about the money, but we've raised a considerable amount of money. And we're almost done. We need another like $13,000 to complete the film.
Okay.
And we'll have done it with almost no private investment, raising it from selling tickets, T-shirts, people in the community, groups like MUFON donating to us, and people volunteering their time. So the combination of things has been pretty incredible to get it to this point. But we have the part that we have with the main cast. We filmed part of the main cast. We filmed, because it's an ensemble, we filmed the president, we filmed the person playing Senator Robert Byrd, we filmed the people, the boys in the woods. So we have some parts with them in the film. So we're going to film the military and the Air Force colonel. But then you have truly what's the main crux of the story, which is John Murphy, his friends, and the main villain. Now, none of them have been filmed. Okay. And the firemen from the town. That's the main part of the story. And we've got about 8 days of filming with them.
Okay.
I wish we had more, but we have to cut it down to try and get it in budget, and we've got to get this done. So in the end, we'll shot, if you know anything about independent film, like we shot Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies in 13 days. We will film this. We will end up with something like 32 filming days on this, which for an independent film is really unheard of. I mean, when you watch someone like Hit Followers or something, I don't know how many days they shot, but I bet you they only shot 10 days, 12 days, maybe 14 of actual shooting days. I mean, it's typical of horror. You want to get it in, get it done. If you have a major film, those guys will film for 3 months. Like Fences was filmed for 3 months in Pittsburgh, or Denzel Washington. So the fact that we'll have 32 shooting days will be a month and a half.
Yeah.
And on a budget way less. And that's really incredible. And that's why it's looking good, because it takes time to do that. It takes time to set up the lights. And there's things there's at least 2 scenes we're reshooting because I didn't like where they look.
Okay.
So,
well, we're going to talk about Kecksburg in just a minute, but I did have one more Wrestlers versus Zombie question.
okay.
If you did a sequel to it, just hypothetically, since Roddy is gone, who would you bring in?
Well, is it a perfect budget or reality? I mean, in a perfect budget, what everybody would love to see is a film with, if I could choose 5 people, you'd want The Rock. And now you're talking $20 million to The Rock to do it, which is just crazy.
How about reality?
Reality, that's a lot more complicated because I'm 50. I'm a child of the great years of wrestling.
How about Terry Funk?
Yeah, Terry Funk. Terry Funk was supposed to be in the original cast.
I think he'd be great.
Yeah, but I think you have to use some of the younger guys. I mean, I would love to see CM Punk. And there was rumors that he was going to be in the film, which we never went to him. And then he was using it at the time to say, no one's ever asked. Well, no one did. I've always found that kind of funny. But I would have loved to have CM Punk. Yep. I mean, to me, if you ask me who would I replace Roddy Piper with, I would replace Roddy Piper with CM Punk. And I thought CM should have become the guy to play that role at WWE. I thought Vince was very foolish on that.
Oh, absolutely. Vince is foolish on a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, I think you create a mix. I mean, obviously, any wrestling thing, even though people say it's difficult to deal with, you want Hulk Hogan, and because he's still the guy. As much as I love Roddy, Hogan's like Babe Ruth. Is a guy on sabermetrics in baseball. And as they say, any system you create that judges baseball players, if it doesn't say Babe Ruth is the greatest baseball player to live, there's something wrong with your system. These guys are close, but they're not equal. And whether I like it or not, Hogan was the biggest thing ever in wrestling. And everybody else falls down from there. Even The Rock never brought the sport to the level Hogan did. Stone Cold Steve Austin would be amazing.
Yeah.
But then you have to have the right mix of the other guys. I mean, one of the things I regret, I wish we'd have made the villain Kevin Sullivan.
Yes.
I wish we just had Kevin Sullivan as a villain. That would have been, we got him on the screen for 2 seconds, but I wish we had him in the film as a villain. He makes a great villain. He's just naturally that guy.
Yep.
And so that's where my mind goes with that. I mean, but I wrote a script for a sequel. It actually had Colt in it and had Roddy in it. And then we met with somebody about it, and it never, partly because I think I just want to make, there's lots of things I want to make right now.
I agree. I agree. And I like the idea of CM Punk. If I was to suggest older guys, I'd say Terry Funk, Jake the Snake, or even the Iron Sheik.
Yeah, I mean, shame is all these guys are getting, physically they're getting weaker.
Yeah.
When we wrote the sequel, we acted as the first one didn't even exist because we did have the second one because we wrote Jeff Hardy apart.
Okay.
I was just guessing who we'd end up with, but I had people like Brutus the Barber Beefcake, because I wanted to see him take shears to a zombie's head. And a lot of it, the villain, funny enough, was Kevin. The villains were Kevin Sullivan. We had two versions. I actually wrote one in Vegas and one not in Vegas. And the one in Vegas, the villain was Honky Tonk Man.
Oh, yeah, there's a good one.
And we had this idea of him flying as a vampire singing Viva Las Vegas, trying to kill people.
Okay.
So, but that's... And the other one had Kevin Sullivan on an island because he didn't get into the Hall of Fame, so he decided to kill everybody.
Okay.
He got a whole bunch of the old wrestlers and turned them into zombies to use against the new ones. It was Greg Valentine and Rocky Johnson and that whole crowd.
Oh, there you go. Well,
Simmons.
Yeah.
I mean, Al Sloan would be great with the head.
Yeah.
But that just naturally plays into zombies. There's a whole bunch you can do there. Don't have to think very hard. So
there you go. Well, I'll tell you, Kecksburg is, I've known about this project for a while, and I know you've been working hard to raise money for it. For those that are going to be listening, tell us, what's this movie about? We know it's based on a case in 1965.
The second most seen, actually the most seen, but the second most famous UFO incident in the United States. 1965, Kecksburg, December 9th, and something lands in the small town of Kecksburg and outside of Pittsburgh. And lots of people see it. The military takes it out. People say their lives are threatened if they say anything. The reporter won't let go of it, John Murphy. He has his pictures stolen.
Mm-hmm.
He goes on the air anyways and discusses what he saw. And the result is not too long after, he is in California and he's walking across the street and gets killed in a hit and run. Okay, and we never catch the person who did it. And then another man by the name of Gary Betters, I think his brother's Jerry, I get him backwards. The one's a famous musician, the other one was a less famous musician. He also wouldn't let go of it, and he was hit by a car and killed in a hit and run unsolved. And so we have two men who died around this story. We have Hillary Clinton demanding the records in 2016 and not being able to get them. And that's 50-some years after the fact. So there's something that went on. It isn't just a satellite, because why would you not get Hillary Clinton records? It isn't all these different things. So, in our story, our teaser shows that it's an alien. The aliens aren't really the main part of the story, but we've taken that tack. But in real life, who knows? I mean, we're not doing a documentary, we're doing a fictional story based on John Murphy and why he dies.
Yep. Well,
something happened there. Brian Gumbel did a special on it. Giorgio Tsoukalakis, a whole bunch of people.
Well, I noticed that you got one of my past interview guests in this. I've had Lisa Wilcox on here. Yeah, talk about working with her.
Well, we haven't got to film that yet, and there's a chance with our budget. We don't know what. There's somebody who was agreeing for her to be in the film, and they were agreeing to pay. And that's how that happened. We hope it happens, but we have to work under the assumption that it may or may not, and complete the film on time, because we have a release schedule.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of in a odd situation where I'm waiting to hear a yes from somebody on finances, because she'd be the most expensive person in the cast.
Oh, yes.
And it's a cameo, and so you get in this situation of, but I would love to work with her. I mean, she's everything I hear, and they're first rate, and she's been excited about the project. So, that's, otherwise it's most of the people are actors on the way up or on the way down. Welcome to indie film. You're investing in the future, you're investing in the past. And that's just the nature of the business. So we have Shane Douglas. Shane's my buddy. and he's slated to pay the Kecksburg fire chief.
Mm-hmm.
We're waiting to hear if he was in Australia last I heard. So we have a date set, and we're waiting on him. I mean, he's been committed to the project from the beginning, but we're stuck in this. If not, we have someone else from the world of wrestling that's going to step right in and play the role. It's ready to go. So that's kind of exciting. That is not my preference because Shane's my personal friend.
Mm-hmm.
He was in my wedding.
Yeah.
I mean, but if he's somehow not in the country, I can't do much about it, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm and I can't get hold of him because he doesn't use his phone when he doesn't, because of the cost. He's very careful with that.
You're talking about Shane Douglas?
Yeah, he's very careful. He was over in Australia last I heard.
Yeah.
So, he had some.
Yep.
He went there with somebody that is a friend that helped him out. So I've been out of communications with him for a while.
Okay.
So otherwise, the cast. I mean, probably the most known person after that's Maria Olsen. She has a cameo. She was in, and I've worked with Maria before, and we're gonna have her film soon. I think the end of October. Her scene. She's in multiple scenes, but all in the same room, so we can just bang those out and get them done. And otherwise, it's a bunch of unknown actors. And some of them have had roles, but for the most part, they're on their way up. So that's, we're really excited we had to replace John Murphy, and we got someone better. Every time we've had someone who couldn't commit when we actually went to film, we got to replace them with someone better. And that's been really encouraging.
Talk about the Kickstart campaign to get it going.
We did a Kickstarter with a bunch of people in West Virginia and in Pennsylvania, and we raised $8,000 or $9,000 or $10,000, something like that helped. We did multiple things like that.
Mm-hmm.
We sold T-shirts. So we've had a bunch of money come in different pots, and then we get it and we film the next part. And we were very fortunate because Bill Hinsman's widow, he was zombie number one in Night of the Living Dead.
Okay.
She decided to sell their C-stands and a bunch of their equipment, old lights, things like that. So they decided they were going to sell them, and they wanted to sell them to the right people. And we bought them from them for extremely wholesale price in a lot. And it enabled us to acquire a lot of film equipment, saving us money on having to rent it for cheaper than it would have cost us to rent it.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that is probably the biggest single thing that's helped. So our C-stands and stuff were from Flesh Eater and Night of the Living Dead. And, that's kind of neat to know that history's still going. We have some of the old Colortran lights. I've become obsessed with Colortran lights. They're really cheap to buy, and I like them. And I can buy an Airy for outdoors for like $700-800. I can buy a Colortran that give me comparable light for $50 because it's from the 1960s. And the socket might go, but the socket costs $20 to repair.
Okay.
So, that's how I keep things going. And we get donations. Like I got fired while we've been talking. I've been out here staring at fire helmets that needed repainted. So I spray painted these fire helmets that were donated from a fire department to the film.
Okay.
And I traded them warp lights. This is kind of crazy, but this is whatever it is to save money on that will keep the same look.
Okay. What inspired this project? I mean, after all you just got done
ever since Unsolved Mysteries. I saw Unsolved Mysteries as a child and saw the Kecksburg incident.
All right.
And no one's ever made it in a film. And so this thing's it's in Call of Duty. I'm shocked we haven't gotten more interest and more money because this is something that's talked about in Poland. It's in Call of Duty. It's the Nazi Bell.
Mm-hmm.
it's not like it's an unknown thing. It's a really well-known thing.
Yeah.
And yet it's been a bunch of firemen and people from southwestern Pennsylvania and West Virginia pulling together to get it done.
What I find
Yeah.
interesting, is and this is where marketing really bothers me. You get a lot of movies released in theaters that I don't know. There's a lot of stuff up there that I don't even care to watch, and a lot of it's sequels or big budget blockbusters, and some of that stuff are advertised right to the hilt that I'm to the point where I don't care. And I love to see smaller projects. In fact, a lot of times I go to smaller films because I know nothing about them. And I'm more drawn into it because I have no expectations going in. Like I went and saw Uncle Drew this summer, for example. I knew nothing about it. And I just thought, well, I'll go see this. And that's kind of how it is with me. So I'm all for it. Yeah.
I like, and it sounds where it's not, I like films that are orientated for a mature audience.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see those. And, I grew up reading comic books, a lot of comic books. And I haven't went to a Marvel movie since Second Avengers, I think.
Okay.
Because I just was like, okay, I got it. I mean, I'm not drawn in. I mean, there's a part of me, okay, let me go see, the Infinity Stone. And at some point I will watch it when it's on streaming and it doesn't cost me $12. I don't want to buy it for $12 for my home. I don't, so for streaming, I'm waiting for it to come down. It isn't there yet. And there's no knock on that. But, here I am, I'm living at West Point. Here are real people who put their lives at risk. We live around them. We work with cadets who will one day put their life at risk for this country and for Western culture, whatever you want to say.
Yep.
And I want stories that speak to the human heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, pro wrestlers, something I like fun stuff, but I don't. I've gotten kind of bored as I got older, and so because I'm looking at the end of my life, and I go, okay, this takes me 2 or 3 years to get a film done.
Yep.
And okay, what's that mean? I mean, that means that until I'm 70, if I have to live that long, I maybe got 8 or 9 films, 10 films, if I'm lucky. I started this late in life,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a lot of effort, and I'm probably going to slow down as I get older.
Yep.
And so because of that, what do I want to spend my time on? So there's things like the Martyrs of Compiègne. There's things that where the nuns walked up, which was made in an opera, but hasn't been done. It's been done as an opera film, but not a real story of what these women did. And they walked to the gallows as martyrs and sing until they're beheaded. Each one being beheaded, they keep singing, praising God. I mean, that matters to me. And so this is, look, I'm going to do a vampire film, but there's a reason, and I can't go into it because it's not public. But will sound odd, there's a theologically sound basis to the vampire film.
Okay.
And it is strictly in, people laughed at me before when I said I wanted to do Christian horror. It is strictly within the vein of Christian theology and horror. And people say, there's no such thing as Christian horror. And I go, really? That's what The Exorcist was. I mean, the single, in real dollars, best horror film ever was Christian horror.
Mm-hmm.
It played off ideas we already had in the culture. And so I want to do that. And I think the man we have playing John Murphy is the person I want to play the vampire or his counterpart, the good guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if they want to do that. And so this is where he could play the role. That's what's exciting to me. Unless we go to work together, and I doubt that'll be easy. I mean, I can't wait to work with Scott Cooper, who we cast as John Murphy. I cannot wait.
Okay.
And when he did his audition, and I worked with the guy we had originally cast, and he had an issue with cutting the hair because he was going to play Jesus somewhere, and in Brazil. And now I know why. He was like really round and round and round. But I love Andrew, and he's a personal friend. But Scott's going to be exceptional. There's something truly, truly deep and profound about him. And I can't believe we have him in the cast. He came over from South Africa. So, we think we have something special. Everybody thinks they do. I'm not the best, like, rah-rah, here, team, yay. I try to be very blunt and honest. There's things I hate about the films I've made so far, most in production value. This is not the case with this one. But I've done everything myself, which makes me nervous.
Yeah, but you know what? There's a sense of fun too. Like Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies, for example, has kind of an Attack of the Killer Tomatoes kind of feel to it. It's got that midnight movie vibe. You know, it's something that people can get together, they can laugh at, they can quote, they can get involved with. The way they do a midnight movie, I think Pro Wrestlers vs. Zombies make a great midnight movie, event film.
I've always thought that, and the weird part is the producers own the theatrical rights, not the distributor. So they could do it. And Troma they have joint. They could both do whatever they want at the theaters. Mm-hmm. Either one of them should be doing that. I mean, I'm not involved in that side. I don't have any control over that. I've always thought that. I thought they needed to contact theaters, do the midnight thing like this room.
Yep.
And because it's made for that.
Yes.
But, this will sound awful.
Yeah.
But, I'm always on the next project. And I'm not in control of it, so why would I continue? It's not my business to pursue it, if that makes sense.
Well, Kecksburg could also land that as well.
Well, this is a much more serious telling of it.
Okay.
So it's a different kind of film. There's no campiness to this. There's some funny moments, but it's a very very serious version of events, and more Spielberg-like than. So it's not Martin Scorsese-like, which I love. It's more Spielberg-like. It says Three Boys in the Woods, and it has those kind of elements. It's very people who have read the script said this reminded them of Super 8. The funny part is I'm not a big fan of Super 8.
Okay.
That's the really funny part about it, but it's very reminiscent of that.
Okay.
So it's made to be watched, to be enjoyed. It's not last with them. There's really not that much funny in it. There's some issues about government and why we cannot trust our government.
Well, that's definitely present now.
Oh, it's funny. Here's the funny part. I had someone read part of the script. We talked to them about producing the film.
Yeah.
Putting, some money into it. Producer out in L.A.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me, who would ever believe that people don't trust the government? He actually said that to me on the phone. He said, there's no audience for not trusting the government. And I was very polite. And I went, what the hell? What planets are you living on?
Yeah.
But this is the same thing when they made Revenge of the Nerds. When Revenge of the Nerds was made, it was so anti what everybody was saying we should talk like and act like. Mm-hmm. And the result was an uncontrolled hit. And I think right now that something very and Kecksburg is not that film. I'm not promoting my own film in this. I think somebody out there needs to make a film that is from the opposite viewpoint of what we're being told every film should be.
Yeah.
And I think that's being missed. And I think wrestling's one away from this. Everybody's one away. We all have to be so sensitive and so kind and so nice. And it's like, oh my God. Sometimes somebody's just nuts.
Yep.
Sometimes a person's a problem. And I don't need to always be sensitive to their feelings because I have a life to live myself. Because the worst single person shouldn't rule everybody else.
Yep.
And we all know that, so we all stand there and we say what we have to say. We would all be called a name, and it's getting old. And I think that it's going to burst out, and people are going to go, where the hell did that come from? Well, it came from the fact that everybody's tired of saying what they don't believe. It's very Orwellian, up is down, down is up. It's, we've let the asylums run the asylum.
Yep.
There you go. And so I think that we need to head somewhere. There needs to be a little bit of common sense. And I used to work in politics, so I've watched these yin and yang, and I find both sides, the true believers, drive me bananas. I can't stand either one of them.
Yeah.
But I abhor lying for the sake of making someone feel good.
Yeah.
We were watching, I don't know if you saw Mindhunter. My wife and I were watching Mindhunter, what we called,
Okay.
on Netflix. And I love the show. I read the book. I read John Douglas's book. You cannot do profile with all the political BS in your head. It's all very real. It's what really goes on in bars and with people who are criminals. There's none of this, right wing, left wing, whatever. It's just people working out of their base instincts. It's very ugly, but it's real. But if you don't know that, you can't appreciate good, because it's yin yang, black white. It only works in contrast to that darkness. And so, I used to do a lot of stuff with that, and so I'm very behind the scenes. I would give people advice on different things, and the people they were looking at their crime, and I had a friend that was the DA, and I was good at it, understanding what goes on in the mind of somebody who's not right. Because I used to work with mental health patients and a lot of that for a long period of time.
Yes.
So, it's real and wrong. There you go. Probably not where you wanted to go and talk about Pro Wrestling versus Zombies, but that's an amazing show, though. David Fincher's incredible.
Yes.
Absolutely incredible.
Absolutely, yes. So what else is coming up for Kecksburg? I know you got to raise some more money, so talk about where that's going.
We are selling tickets to the premiere, principalitiesofdarkness.com.
Okay.
You hit the shop button, and you can buy tickets to the premiere. All that's going to funding. We need $13,500 more. So we actually have to sell 270 more premiere tickets. That's the VIP tickets. Those people get to come to an event the day before with the cast. And they get a free book, and they get stuff signed, and they get to go in, and they get to be there at the red carpet, and they get their name in the credits, even if they're not from the area. For $50, they get their name in the credits as an alien abductee. And so that it helps us complete it, and we've sold 27% of the VIP tickets for the premiere. It's over 100. We sold them a year before the premiere, so that's really incredible. I mean, you normally don't sell 27% of your tickets a year before.
What about a guy like me who's very limited in my travels? How would somebody like myself be able to support it?
If they go to principalitiesofdarkness.com on the shop, there's a whole bunch of different little options.
Okay.
We're probably gonna do another Indiegogo, but there's T-shirts. We have 2 different designs of T-shirts. We have to make a new order of them actually because we sold out.
Okay.
And one has John Murphy and Rosa looking at the spaceship while the military guards it. The other one has 3 boys in the woods. The first one was a cartoonist drawing. The second one is actually of the 3 boys who play the actors looking into the sky it says "Watch the Skies." So we have those 2 options. There's the thing for getting your name in the credits and all of that. So those have been really successful. People like the idea of having, for $50 you get your name in the credits, and for $35 you get your name in the credit as a Kecksburg resident. And so we have like these different little options like that. And the T-shirts are $20, and I think they're higher when you get into double X's and things like that. But that has been, they have sold really well. I mean, we have sold hundreds and hundreds of them. And we're probably closing in on close to 1,000 T-shirts
Okay.
for the film, which for an independent film doesn't sell 1,000 T-shirts.
Oh, wow.
That's just not. We've sold coffee mugs. We don't have any of those up right now. We have sold all kinds of things and tried different things, but the T-shirts work really well, and people like them. We're thinking about doing one that says "Terminate all witnesses" with Lyndon Johnson.
Okay.
That's one of his lines in the film.
Yep.
And so we've thought about doing that. But that's the easiest way to help.
Okay.
And it goes right into the film. And, we whittled it down to this last number, and we've got 8 months to raise $13,000. I hope that we can do that. That would be, we'll get the film done, but it won't be to the quality we need it to be. We'll have to make some other changes.
Okay.
There's 2 ways but all the actors have been really cool. They're all working for the same amount.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them have volunteered their time, and it's been a really unique process. So we need the help. There's a lot of projects that need help, but this is a story that somebody died for.
Absolutely.
Because our government still doesn't want to tell the truth 53 years later about whatever reason. And it was just a satellite, then it's been an awful lot of effort to hide it.
Yeah.
And that speaks more about them than anything.
Yes. Yes. So again, plug where people can go to support this project.
You can find us on Facebook. It's Kecksburg Movie, and there's links there. And you also principalitiesofdarkness.com from the Bible verse.
Okay.
We're making horror films. We have the bad guys team, I guess, is the. So then they can find me on Facebook. I'm pretty easy to find, and I accept almost every friend request.
Yep, I've got you on Facebook.
Yeah,
yep.
I always do unless there's some bot. But I always warn them I talk about politics when I do film there. I mean, the Kecksburg movie site, I talk about the movie.
Sure.
On my own page, I talk about life.
Yep. No, I read your comments, and, but sometimes you don't know if somebody's listening or watching or whatnot, but nope. But, nope, I'm grateful to be connected with you on here and happy to help promote this project. And I'm hoping that you guys gain the rest of the funds to make this movie. I like the fact that you're innovative. I mean, you don't have a big budget, but you're doing the best with your resources, and I think that's going to result in a movie done with a lot of passion. Whereas a lot of CGI movies, they're just slapped together for a quick buck.
Well, to do this without passion would be crazy. There's
Yeah.
a whole bunch better ways to make money or spend time.
Mm-hmm.
And every film we've done has been better than the last. And that is the really exciting part for us. We've invested in getting better because we weren't doing this because, we want to be famous or we want to. There's people that do that. Like, let's make a film because I want to be famous. No, okay. I was around politics. I don't want to be famous. That'd be stupid. That's a pain in the butt. People don't realize it. But you get old and you have to want to do it for the art. And that's where we're at. That's why my wife supports it.
Okay. Well, tell you what, we are winding down here, but I appreciate you coming on here and promoting this. And
well, I appreciate you having us. Because
yes, absolutely. And any of your projects you've got coming.
I'm tired.
What's that?
I'm exhausted from 7 days of raising money and getting locations for the film, and I just got home. I have a 7-hour drive there and back.
Oh wow! Yeah.
And I sleep on a couch in an old house that I still have there. So there's nothing in the house since we moved, and it hasn't sold yet. So I sleep in the house on this couch. And my wife's pregnant with another child,
Mm-hmm.
and the film is going to go around the baby being born, which is just even crazier. So,
You looking forward to fatherhood again?
yeah, it'll be 3.
Yeah.
I have one from a previous marriage that's 19, and then 2 little ones.
Okay.
One's on the way and one's here. So, it's fun. And I watch the kids, so they're with me all the time.
Okay.
It's the nice part about my life. I can take them with me.
You don't let the wrestlers babysit them?
No. No.
I asked Ariel and Colt this when I interviewed them. I said, when Roddy took you guys on the road, when he was out in the ring, did he ever have you two babysat by Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik? Could you imagine those two singing a lullaby?
That would be interesting. I mean, most of those guys are really good. Their wives are stay at home and they, take care of the kids. I guess how Hack at least that was the case. Roddy always, he protected his family.
Oh yeah, he's got a good family. He's got a fantastic family.
Yeah, that's the best judge of a man's life.
Yep. Yeah, if you've heard the interview I did with them, I got it up on YouTube, and I'm going to say, just listening to them, there's a lot. It says a lot about how they were raised by Roddy and Kitty, and I think that they did a great job. Very well-mannered kids.
Wonderful family.
Yeah. Well, we are promoting Kecksburg and getting this project off the ground and in theaters. And I wish you luck on that, and I really hope it goes well. I'm sure it will. You're somebody with a lot of ambition. You've got a lot of ideas. And I think as each film comes along, I think you go get better and better.
They have, and that's what's most exciting to me. And so this one is really special. So thank you, Greg. And if you hear a toddler in the background, it's because my son is nearby.
Oh, I thought that was the wrestlers on the TV.
No.
Before you go, would you mind doing a plug for my show?
Cody Knotts, and you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python Radio out of New Brunswick, Canada.